All right, let's read about some other organelles. So when you watched the video, you should have come up with a difference between a plant cell and an animal cell. And I'm not going to go over that answer because there's a bunch you could have written about, and we're going to go over them more in depth right now. If you got that wrong, that's okay. It was pretty new, so nothing really to worry about. I'm going to, as you know, share my screen, and so we can go through these notes together. Now, these notes are pretty intense. You are not, like I've said over and over, responsible for knowing every single one of these. It's just going to be really cool when you get to high school that you've heard all of this before and you might remember some of it. So other organelles for animal cells. Now, plant cells have these too. We're going to talk about plant cells in a moment. We have vacuoles. Vacuoles store water for the cell. Animal cells have a few small vacuoles. Plant cells have one very large vacuole. In a factory, the vacuoles would be like the water cooler. Endoplasmic reticulum, try saying that, endoplasmic reticulum, is responsible for transporting molecules, especially proteins, so that they can get where they need to go. The rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes on it. So there's a smooth endoplasmic reticulum and a rough endoplasmic reticulum. In a factory, the endoplasmic reticulum would be like the conveyor belt that transports materials from place to place. So if you picture like an assembly line with like a conveyor belt, you've got the products going down them to each person. I think that would be sort of like the endoplasmic reticulum because it's transporting things. All right. The Golgi apparatus is responsible for taking simple molecules and combining them into more complex molecules. It packages the molecules and stores them for later use or sends them out of the cell. Overall, the Golgi apparatus is responsible for packing and shipping molecules. In a factory, the Golgi apparatus would be like the mailroom, because materials are packaged and shipped out or stored for later. One more, the nuclear envelope. You should think about what organelle does nuclear sound like. Nuclear envelope is a membrane similar to the cell membrane around the cell that surrounds and protects the nucleus. This membrane keeps the nucleus separate from the cytoplasm and the rest of the organelles. It is really important because having this prevents the DNA from becoming damaged. In a factory, the nuclear envelope would be the boss's office that keeps the boss separate and protected. Sorry, my dog is being crazy. Buddy, buddy, hey, off. All right, anyways. Oh, and he's back. All right, so the nucleus has basically its own mini cell membrane just around it because the nucleus is that important. Okay, a couple questions here. Which organelle is responsible for storing water? There's one up there. If you don't know, scroll back up, look at the notes. You can write one word, you could write a sentence. I don't care, write it down. Go, go, go. Or you should have said vacuole. The vacuoles are responsible for storing water. Which organelles are responsible for transporting materials? Select two answers. Again, you can go back up to the text if you need help. We have the Golgi apparatus, the nuclear envelope, the endoplasmic reticulum, and the vacuole. Pick two. If you need more time to look at the text, you can pause me. But you should have said the Golgi apparatus and the endoplasmic reticulum. Those are the two that are responsible for transporting materials. The Golgi apparatus does like more than that. So does the endoplasmic reticulum. But overall, they both take part in transporting molecules. Why is the nuclear envelope important? Take a couple moments to write a sentence out, starting with the nuclear envelope is important because. Go ahead. The nuclear envelope is important because if you're stuck, please look at the text. All right, if you need more time, you can pause me, but you should have said something about it protecting the nucleus and most importantly, protecting the DNA inside the nucleus. We don't want our DNA getting damaged and getting mutations. All right, moving on to plant cells. So this first bullet point here is really important. Plant cells have all of the same organelles as animal cells, but they have a few extra organelles as well. So all the ones we've learned about, from the ones we just named up above, those four, vacuole, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, nuclear envelope, to all the ones we've been learning, nucleus, mitochondria, cell membrane, lysosome, ribosome, mitochondria. I don't even know if I've repeated them twice. You get the point. Plant cells have them all, but they even have extra. The first one is the cell wall. The cell wall surrounds the plant cell outside of the cell membrane. So if it's a plant cell, they're rectangular. They would have a cell membrane and then a cell wall around it. You should have seen that in the video. The cell wall protects the plant cell and provides a rigid structure. Plants do not move like humans do, so they need cell walls to give them structure. If animal cells had cell walls, we would not be able to move around. This is why plant cells are a rectangular shape instead of a more fluid oval. So when you look at pictures next to each other of plant and animal cells, or like in the video you watch, plant cells are shown as like a rectangle because those are a more rigid plant cell. When you get to high school, you'll probably look at an onion cell on a microscope. That's a really common thing in biology classes. And you'll see those rectangular cells next to each other. You could Google that right now, plant cell under microscope, and you would see that. It's because of their cell wall. If the cell was a factory, the cell wall would be like the walls of the building, quite simply. Those rigid like brick walls around a building or whatever, those would be our cell wall. Right? The chloroplast. The chloroplast is where photosynthesis happens. And it also produces chlorophyll, which gives plants their green color. So chloroplasts do photosynthesis and make your plants green. Photosynthesis, you should already know this from 7th grade, but if not, maybe you weren't at KC, maybe you haven't learned it, maybe you don't remember, that's okay. Photosynthesis is the process that plants use to turn sunlight into food energy or glucose. So more specifically, it's when plants use sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide, and then they use those and turn it into oxygen and glucose. It's really important that plants can do that because that's how all other animals are able to eat. It all starts with plants being able to turn sunlight into food. Animal cells do not have chloroplasts because animals cannot do photosynthesis. We have to consume food for energy. If the cell was a factory, the chloroplast would be like solar panels on top of the building that turn sunlight into energy. The large vacuole stores water for plants. While animal cells have some small vacuoles, plants need to store much more water. Plants cannot just get up and go get water when they are thirsty. Whenever it rains, they have to store water so that they always have enough water. Water is necessary for a plant to do photosynthesis, so without water, the plant will not have energy and will die. So something like a cactus in a desert is going to have really large vacuoles and tons of space to store water. But in general, all plants have to have that. It's an adaptation, if we think back to our natural selection unit, that plants have that allows them to store water for longer periods of time, right? If I'm thirsty, I'm going to go over to my sink, I'm going to get some water. Even before sinks and all that, humans could walk and find a water source. We could walk to a river. A plant can't do that. All right, last, if the cell was a factory, the large vacuole would be like the water cooler or maybe the water pipes that provide water for the factory. 2 quick questions here. Why do plants need a large vacuole and animals do not? A, animals do not need water, but plants do. B, plants need more water than animals do. That is a typo. Oops, and I've just showed you the answer. My bad, but we'll talk about it. So if you've made it this far in the video, you deserve to have the answer. So plants need more water than animals do. Plants cannot go get water, so they have to store it, or plants and animals both need large vacuoles. So as you can see on my video, the answer is C. Plants and animals both need water. They both need a lot of water. I would argue animals even need more water because we're moving and so on, but we cannot go get water. We can go get water, but they can't. So they need to be able to store it. All right, what is one difference between plant and animal cells that you find most interesting? So you can use the text to help you, but I'm not going to go over those answers because that's up to you. So at this point, you're basically done. You just need to answer that question and do your exit ticket. If you need any help, you just want to chat, you want to say hi, shoot me a text, come to office hours. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, and I can't wait to read your check-in tomorrow.